Hi, this is Lady Fields, and I am the author of A Woman's Guidebook to Basic Ministry Affairs. This book is a mashup of practical and spiritual wisdom that has been fused together and presented to you for God's glory. This is one of the easiest how-to instructional guides that you will ever own. How to do so many basic things in ministry. One of the chapters talks about how to do a public reading. So you've been asked to do a public reading in church. What do you do? We know that public readings are important. When we go to the book of Esther, we see that the king couldn't sleep one night. So he called those that read to pull up the old books and had them read them to him. That's how he knew that he owed Mordecai a favor. Then again in the book of Esther, at the end of the book, they're writing letters and reading the letters of Purim to everyone in the area of Shushan. So it's important that we do public readings and that we do them with excellence. So today, I'm going to give you 7 tips on how to do stellar public readings. You ready? Hope you have your pen in hand. 1, practice, practice, practice. You have to be able to practice if you want to be a stellar public reader. Practice reading everything. If you're reading a magazine, practice reading it aloud. If you're practicing reading a piece of mail from your children's school, that's a good idea. Practice, 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 and listen to your diction, to your vocal variety, your vocal pitch, your enunciation, to make sure that you are practicing and reading clearly. Takeaway number 2, highlight your pre-reading. Before you read anything publicly, you should read it in private. So while you're reading it in private, I suggest that you highlight words that you may get tongue-tied when you're reading. I also suggest that you circle the words or highlight them. Or you can even use Post-it notes like these to put them on your paper to give you a note to let you know, I need to slow down, because this is an area in the reading where I might get tongue-tied or I may slip up. Next tip. Dictionary. If you see a word when you're doing your pre-reading that you don't know how to pronounce, go to the dictionary so that you can have the proper pronunciation when you stand before God's people. Next, you've got to be patient with yourself. Understand when you get up to do a public reading, I am not perfect. I am human. I am God's woman, and I may make mistakes. But when I make mistakes in my reading, I'm going to use that as a cue to tell me that I need to focus. And I need to be even more so focused on what I'm reading and what I'm presenting to God's people. The next tip, pronounce your words completely. Do not leave off the ending of your words, or else it's just a complete run-on sentence to those that are hearing you. Make sure you're finishing your words. You're pausing at periods and commas and colons so that the hearers can digest what it is that you're reading. Stand still is another tip. A lot of times women move to the microphone and we're not as confident as we should be. So we fidget and we move back and forth. We're focusing on fidgeting, we're focusing on the message, we're focusing on our nervousness. When you approach the podium, you should stand flat-footed and focus on the message and delivering whatever the message is to the congregants that are waiting. The last thing I want to say to you, tip number 7, is have motivational stickers and put those on your papers when you're doing your pre-reading. What am I saying to you? You may realize that by the second paragraph, you're getting a little bit tired of reading. At that point, you should have a motivational sticker that speaks to you. Something that may say like, go for the gold. Something that may say, be awesome. Something that may say, shine on, so that you'll know that you need to pick yourself up. It's called encouraging yourself while you're standing in the midst of God's people. Remember that communication is everything, and everything is communication. You must make sure that you are communicating to God's people with clarity and with a crispness. In the book of Habakkuk, it says, write the vision and make it plain so that those that read it, those that hear it, may run. You're in charge of reading the vision of God's mansert, reading it to the congregation. Make sure that you're reading in such a way that people can grasp the message and run with the message that you are sharing with them. I give you a challenge. If you're not doing public readings, volunteer. I'm willing to do a public reading. If you're already doing public readings, make the commitment to yourself and to God. I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to be even better in presenting myself before the people of God. I want you to be encouraged that when you stand before God's people, you should stand with a confidence in God. You should stand and project an anointing, the favor of God that is on your life. You should communicate with clarity, with a crispness, and with a focus on making sure that the message is given to the people, that they're not focusing on you, but they are focusing on the message that God is trying to relate to them. So I want you to go out there and be successful. Be God's woman that is willing and ready to step into new territory. If you haven't brought someone else a copy of my book, I encourage you to do it. Sow a seed of greatness into someone else's life. Be great. I'm praying for you, and I'm always sending happy thoughts in your direction. God bless.